After my life-changing car accident, my family group chat exploded with amazing photos revealed. The rain poured down in sheets that Tuesday, turning the world outside Jack's shop into a blur of gray. He just finished another long day of wrenching and tuning, feeling the ache in his back but savoring the familiar rhythm of work. But then, in an instant, everything changed. A reckless driver broadsided him, and Jack's life shattered like the glass that rained around him. The pain was immense, clawing at his consciousness as he lay trapped, the memories of his family's laughter ringing in his ears. Days later, he woke up in the hospital, the sterile smell of antiseptic invading his senses. It was here, wrapped in bandages, that he first discovered the flurry of notifications from his family group chat. "Look at this cat," followed by a collage of photos his sister steaming chicken casserole, his niece's goofy face, and videos of their neighbor's cat trying to fit into a box far too small for him. Jack multiplied that warm feeling of connectivity in his chest. It was comfort in chaos. But as the rain tapped gently against the window, the chat began to evolve. The usual memes fell away, making space for deeper conversations. His sister, tired of the mundane, posted an old photo of Jack with his late father, grease under his nails and a grin stretching from ear to ear. "You always said you wanted to open your own shop," she prompted, and suddenly, Jack's heart raced with unfulfilled ambitions. Could he chase that dream? Did he dare? The chaotic buzz quickly ignited a debate. His younger brother, Mike, typed furiously, doubt dripping from every word. "Jack, you can't seriously think about leaving a steady job for something so uncertain." It was a challenge steeped in concern, yet it ignited a fire inside Jack. Here, wrapped in the safety of family, he could let the world know he craved more than his father's dreams. He wanted his own. The balance between ambition and security crumbled around them, revealing a web of unearthed hopes. "Don't forget, Dad always fought for us." Jack countered against the tide of their doubts, feeling the sting of familial expectations clash with his aspirations. Suddenly, a whirlwind of family photos, drenched in nostalgia, filled the chat. Pictures of grandparents weathering the Great Depression with grit and determination. Each snapshot stirred the pot, revealing a lineage of resilience. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As each message pinged through, Jack felt the emotional tide rising. He shared stories of nights spent dreaming over blueprints for a modest auto shop, a canvas for all his potential. Yet, just as clarity began to appear on the horizon, a dark cloud rolled in an old tax form surfaced in their chat, exposing their father's hidden debts, the burdens he silently carried to keep the family running. Jack's heart dropped. Those debts were shackles, twisting the very definition of success. What had real stability meant all along? At that moment, Jack knew he stood at a crossroads. His next message could shatter everything, or could carve out a new path. What if true success isn't about the money we make, but rather the legacy we leave behind? The buzzing silence echoed back, heavy with the weight of their family's sacrifices. As the anticipation built, he waited, wondering who they would become next. The family stuck in shadows or the one that soared toward the light. The silence in the chat felt thick, almost suffocating. Jack's fingers hovered above the screen, waiting, searching for a response that would break the tension. He could almost hear his heart pounding like a drum, youthful hope battling against the weight of uncertainty. Then, finally, a message popped up. It was Sarah, his sister. "You're right, Jack. But how do we balance dreams with reality?" Her words, though dripping with concern, also carried a hint of something more, a spark of understanding. It ignited hope in Jack's chest. Mike chimed in next, less hesitant now. "Maybe this is a moment for all of us. We've always been there to support each other. Why not now? The warmth of his brother's words wrapped around Jack like a comforting embrace, pushing back the dark fog of doubt. You both are thinking that way? Jack typed, his breath catching in his throat. We could rise above this together? A flurry of responses ensued. Moments of joy, fear, and excitement mingled in the digital space. Jack's heart raced as he read his family's messages. Their love, their willingness to fight, blossomed through the screen. His mom, who had been quiet until now, finally wrote, "Your father would want all of us to follow our dreams. He believed in living life to the fullest." Jack swallowed hard, emotion flooding him. They were all feeling it, a collective yearning. He could see each family member standing at their own precipice, peering into the unknown, fingers trembling over their dreams just as he did. But even with this growing momentum, Jack felt a gnawing fear. What if this was just a dream? What if he failed? Would himself and his family be left picking up the pieces? That doubt lingered, heavy in the air like the storm clouds outside. "Let us do something," Jack typed, determined to shift the conversation. "Let us plan a family meeting. Maybe we can brainstorm how to make these dreams a reality." The response was immediate. Excitement blasted through the chat like fireworks. Ideas started to fly. New projects, potential collaborations, and ways to pull together the remnants of their father's legacy. Through the back-and-forth banter, Jack felt lighter. They were all back in the same room, throwing ideas like playful punches. Laughter threaded through their messages, chasing away lingering shadows. Dare he say, healing. But then, amid the flurry, his phone buzzed again. This time it was a message from an unknown number. Confused, Jack opened the text, and his heart dropped. "Hey, is this Jack? You need to see this," it read, followed by a link. A knot twisted in his stomach. Tension crackled with dread. Had someone found out about the accident? Was it news of the driver who had hit him or something far worse? He could feel his skin go cold, panic flooding through him. He hesitated for a moment but pressed the link. The screen flickered before him, blood rushing in his ears. What was waiting on the other side went far beyond anything he could have imagined. A truth that could unravel everything they had just begun to rebuild or bring them closer together than ever before. As the page loaded, Jack braced himself for the unknown, unsure if the world he had dreamt of could withstand the tremors of what came next. The page finally loaded, and what Jack saw froze him in place. It was an article, the headline bold and glaring. "Community rallies behind local family after tragic accident." His breath hitched in his throat. There were familiar faces everywhere, neighbors, friends, even complete strangers, all holding signs that read, "We stand with the Johnsons and hope for Jack." Jack's heart raced, bouncing wildly in his chest. He scrolled down, eyes darting over images of his family. Sarah and Mike were captured mid-laugh at a small gathering, surrounded by a circle of candles. In another picture, his mom was speaking to a crowd in front of their house, her voice a beacon of strength. The warmth radiated from the photos, filling the void left by the wreckage of that fateful night. These people had come together, turning their grief into action. Jack felt an odd mixture of gratitude and sadness wash over him. They weren't just mourning. They were fighting for something more, for him, for his family. He could almost hear their voices echoing in the back of his mind, whispering words of encouragement. Tears pricked his eyes as he continued scrolling. Comments flooded the bottom of the article, each more heartwarming than the last. "We love you, Jack. You'll get through this. You are not alone." But then, deeper in the thread, another comment caught his eye. "Does anyone know how it really happened?" It read. His heart plunged. The unspoken question hung heavy in the air, a haunting reminder of that day. There was a dark shadow lurking around the edges of this light, and Jack could feel it creeping closer. He quickly typed a message in the family chat, his fingers trembling. "Guys, I just saw an article about us. We have a community supporting us. They're sharing our story." The responses were instant, a flurry of shock and joy. "Wow, that's amazing," Sarah replied, the excitement palpable through her words. But Jack felt the weight of the other comment pressing upon him. The fear gnawing at him intensified. What would happen if someone pushed for more details? What if they wanted to know the truth behind the accident? Suddenly, another message popped into the chat from Mike. This is good. We need to harness this energy and start planning. We can have a benefit, maybe. Jack's brother's enthusiasm was infectious, but the shadow lingered, dimming the moment. Jack hesitated. Wait, does everyone think we should tell people about the accident? I mean, really tell them? Silence hung in the chat, heavier than before. Jack imagined their faces, their confusion, perhaps even their fear. Would this rallying cry lose its power if the truth came out? Would people still care if they knew how fragile everything was? Just then, a response from his mom appeared. We must be honest, Jack. It's our story, but it's also our strength. Facing it together is the only way forward. That was it. Jack felt like he was standing on the edge of a cliff, teetering between fear and hope. The truth had the power to tear them apart or draw them closer. With one final, shaky breath, he typed, "Okay, then let us do it. Together." As the messages flowed in, filled with a mix of agreement and renewed conviction, Jack's heart thundered with anticipation. They would face this together, no matter what. But could they truly bear the weight of revelation? Would the truth they unveiled become their salvation or their undoing? Jack's mind raced as he stared at the screen, ready to plunge into the depths of uncertainty that lay ahead. What awaited them as they opened up about the darkest day of their lives? The room felt heavy with anticipation as Jack watched the chat light up with messages. Words of encouragement mixed with hope, but a nagging doubt twisted in his stomach. How do you start to share something that could change everything? Would the community's love hold up against the raw truth? Jack closed his eyes for a moment, envisioning his family standing around him in a tight circle, a protective wall against the pressing darkness. They had been through so much already. The thought of unearthing the details of that night felt like unwrapping a wound that had barely started to heal. Maybe we could start a blog or a social media page, Mike typed, his enthusiasm bubbling over. Jack admired his brother's energy, yet he couldn't help but cringe. We should talk to a counselor first, make sure we're ready. Counselor? Who wants to sit around and chat about feelings? Sarah's response came through, playful yet serious. What we need is a plan to show everyone how much we've survived. Jack smiled slightly at her resilience. Sarah had always been the glue that held them together, but even her strength was put to the test. His mom chimed in, let us use this momentum, but we should be careful. We should do it together as a family. The thought settled within him, strength mingling with fear. Yeah. Together. The two words weighed heavily yet felt buoyant, a lifeline thrown into turbulent waters. After a few minutes of message exchanges, the conversation shifted to the benefit Mike suggested. Excitement sparked as they discussed potential themes, locations, and ways to involve the community. Jack's heart raced at the idea of everyone uniting, envisioning the laughter, the music, even the smell of food vendors, cooking up favorite recipes. Hope flickered, illuminating the shadows that threatened to sink him. But along with that hope surged another wave, the crushing reminder that every smile came with its own bitter backstory. What if we really do share the story behind the accident? Jack finally typed, his fingers hesitating above the keyboard. I just have this feeling that people will want to know. And I don't know if I can talk about it. I think we should wait for the right moment to tell our story, Mike replied, the excitement in his voice fading slightly. It's important to focus on the positives. But we can't just hide from it, Jack protested, anguish surging through him. It was life-changing, not just for us, but for others, too. Jack's breath quickened. Would revealing the truth be a blessing or a curse? Would it take away their warmth, their hope? Or could it transform this tragedy into a legacy of strength? Sarah responded with a single heart emoji. Just then, a simple notification chimed from the article comments. A new message appeared, and Jack felt his heart drop as he read. There must be more to this story. Why hasn't anyone talked about the driver? The shadows that once seemed far away now crept up again, a chilling reminder of the truth. Jack felt a cold rush as those words hung in his mind, swirling curiosity into dread. He couldn't shake the fear that the truth might not be as they imagined. But even as doubt gnawed at him, there was a flicker of determination in his heart. They had come this far. As he set down his phone, Jack gazed at the family photos scattered across the room, each one a captured moment of light and love. The faces beam with joy, but not all stories shine bright. He knew their journey had just begun, and it was about to take a sharp turn into unsettling territory. What awaited them when they stepped into the light of their truth? Would it bind them together, or shatter everything they built? In that charged moment, with a heart pounding like a drum, Jack understood one undeniable thing. They were on the verge of unveiling something bigger than any of them could yet grasp. There would be no turning back. Jack sat quietly in the dim light of the room, his heart racing with confusion and anticipation. The weight of the moment settled on him like a thick fog. He took a deep breath, trying to clear his mind of the chaos swirling just beneath the surface. The commitment to share their story felt like an anchor, but it could just as easily drag them into the depths. Let us try to focus on the event for now. Mike's voice broke into Jack's thoughts. Think about what we can do together. We can handle the harder stuff later. Right, Jack murmured, forcing a smile even though dread bubbled within him. The excitement of planning the event felt like a fragile bubble, ready to pop at the first sign of pressure. Curtains fluttered in the background as a breeze whispered through an open window. Jack found himself staring at the family photos strewn about the sun-drenched days at the beach and the chaotic holiday dinners. Each image was a reminder of their strength. Yet here they stood, on the brink of revealing shadows lurking behind those memories. His phone chimed again, pulling him back into the present. This time it was Sarah. We need to do this right. Maybe share a little teaser about our journey first? Get people interested? Jack read her words and nodded, though no one could see him. A teaser felt safer, giving them space to share their progress without plunging into the depths of despair. How about beginning with our family story? He typed back. Something uplifting to kick things off? Exactly, she replied. We can emphasize our growth and resilience. Everyone loves an underdog story. Jack's fingers paused over the keys, a silent hesitation hanging in the air. They always were the underdogs, fighting through their burdens. But the looming question remained. Could they truly protect their hearts while dragging the shadows into the light? In that moment, his phone buzzed again. A message from his mom this time. I believe it's important to show our struggles as well as our triumphs, but let us not rush it. We'll find the right words together. The last part resonated with him. Together, kept coming back to that. Jack began to feel a flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, they could find their way through the darkness. But uncertainty still nagged at his gut. What if they opened the floodgates and it all came rushing out? Let us schedule a family meeting this weekend, Mike suggested. We can brainstorm together. That'll help, right? Jack felt a swell of gratitude for Mike's steady presence. Yeah, that sounds good, he typed back. We need to ensure we're all on the same page. As the chat continued, they tossed around ideas. Laughter broke through the tension, lightening the atmosphere like sunshine piercing through clouds. They began to envision the event, a community gathering filled with stories, music, and, above all, a sense of shared understanding. But beneath the surface, Jack's mind raced. How could they piece together the events without tearing at the raw wounds? His heart sank again when he remembered the driver. The ghost of that figure lurked just beyond their thoughts, a specter that could unravel everything if brought into the open. Would their community still hold them after they shared that truth? Settling back against the wall, Jack closed his eyes. The sound of his family's laughter faded into the background, replaced by the wariness of burying deeper secrets than they had ever envisioned confronting. The night air felt electric as they planned, and every heartbeat echoed a silent reminder of what still loomed ahead. He could feel the ground shifting under them, promising that whatever came next would ignite a firestorm of truth. Could they really handle it all? Jack sat in that fragile moment, knowing that the surface would break soon enough. What awaited them in their unveiling? Would they rise together or fall apart in the turbulence of the hidden past? As anticipation wrapped around him, Jack felt the uncertainty pulse like a drumbeat, each tick echoing louder than the last. The weekend arrived with a mix of excitement and dread. Jack woke up to sunlight streaming through his window, but instead of warmth, it felt too bright, too intrusive. He reluctantly peeled himself from the comfort of his sheets, trying to shake off the gnawing anxiety that crept in as the day approached as he made coffee. His mind drifted back to the conversation from the night before. Did they really have the strength to face their past together? The thought of their stories intertwined with the tragedy was overwhelming. He poured cereal and sat at the kitchen table, picking at the pieces as he stared into space. The clock ticked loudly, reminding him of the time. Somewhere in the house, he could hear Mike and Sarah's laughter, the kind that filled the air with joy. He knew they were excited for the meeting, yet Jack felt a knot tighten in his stomach. How could he possibly share every detail? Before he knew it, his phone buzzed. A message from Sarah flashed across the screen. "Can't wait to see you guys. I brought all the old photo albums. Let us spark some good memories." He replied with a thumbs up, trying to muster some enthusiasm. As they gathered in the living room that afternoon, the atmosphere was electric. There was an infectious energy among them, a sense of purpose. Jack watched as Mike pulled the photo albums from the shelf, nostalgia illuminating his face. Each album was a gateway to the past, rich with moments that shaped their family. "I can't believe how small we all were," Mike laughed, flipping through the pages. "Remember that beach trip when we built the biggest sandcastle? We thought it could withstand anything." Laughter erupted, cutting through the tension like a knife through butter. It felt good to revisit those carefree times. But as Jack listened to the stories, the weight of what lay beneath was heavy on his heart. "Here's one of the Christmas when we got the puppy," Sarah exclaimed, pulling out a faded picture. "I thought I'd cry when he chewed up Mama's slippers." Those were the days their Mama's voice trailed off, a note of melancholy drifting into the joyful reunion. Suddenly, Jack felt like he was watching from a distance, as if the reunion wasn't his. The memories swarmed around him, mixing with worry. He had to bridge the joy with the gravity of their truth. They were sitting on a volcano. Collectively, they sighed when Mike closed the album. "All right, team, we've got to do this. We have the stories to share, but we can't turn a blind eye to what happened that day." His voice wavered, thick with emotion. Jack felt the air grow thick. "Right. The accident. It's part of us now." The room grew silent. Their shared glance spoke volumes. They all knew it, yet the words hung heavy. "Can we change things? Will people be there for us?" Jack asked, vulnerability cracking through his facade. "What if we let them in?" Sarah suggested. "Let them feel what we felt? We can't pretend it didn't happen." Jack held his breath. Could they truly convey their pain without losing the love they fought so hard to protect? The fear of judgment loomed large. As they spoke more openly about their plan, Jack felt a shift in the room. The storm clouds above didn't vanish, but the bond among them felt resolute, like roots strengthening in a storm. Just when he thought they were finding their way, another thought struck him. What if the driver comes forward? What if they try to twist our story? Mike sighed, nodding. "We can't let fear speak for us. We have to own our narrative. Together." In that moment, Jack felt a flicker of determination. Maybe they were stronger than he realized. As they shared more laughs and pain, an unexpected sense of hope washed over him. But could they truly prepare for the reality of facing their past? Jack glanced at the door, wondering if today would be a turning point or the beginning of a long road filled with uncertainty. With every photo and story shared, they approached the edge of revelation. But what awaited them once they took that leap? The late afternoon sun cast long shadows in the cozy living room, stretching across the photo albums now stacked in haphazard piles. Memories of laughter and joy lingered in the air, but the weight of unspoken words loomed larger. Jack shifted in his seat, his heart rate ticking faster as Mike's words settled heavily around him. "We can't turn a blind eye to what happened that day." They had all buried it under layers of laughter, but now the truth felt raw and real. What was meant to be a day of reconnection morphed into a mounting pressure cooker of unaddressed pain. Sarah reclined, her eyes darting to each of her brother's faces. We should make a pact, you know? To be honest. To share everything, all of it. There was determination in her voice, a steady anchor against the turbulent waters of memories being unearthed. Can we really? Jack asked, vulnerability threading through his words. What if we open up and things get messy? Sometimes messy is how we find clarity, Mike replied, his voice softer now, as if testing the waters of uncertainty. We can't fix what we don't acknowledge. We owe it to ourselves. Jack looked between his siblings, hearts beating as one in that fragile moment. He reached for a photo album his mother had sat down moments before and opened it carefully. Their childhood stared back at him, carefree smiles, sun-kissed days at the lake, and family holidays. But there were margins in those snapshots, holes where laughter used to echo. The shadows of the accident crept through the pages, ghosting alongside every smile. Maybe we need to start with what we all felt that day, Sarah suggested, her face earnest and brightened by a flicker of bravery. How it changed us. The room hung in silence. Jack could feel the unspoken struggles simmering below the surface, each one heavier than the last. I felt so alone, he admitted quietly. Even surrounded by family, I felt like I had no one to talk to. You were all struggling, too. I didn't know how to reach out. His admission drew a collective breath, each of them caught in the tug-of-war of emotions. I thought keeping my distance kept you safe, Mike added, his throat tightening. I was scared, and I didn't want to add to the pain. I thought I could protect us by staying quiet. But staying quiet only kept the wounds fresh, Sarah said, her voice shaking. It's like hiding the scars, thinking they're invisible. But they're not. They're aching. Jack nodded, a warmth spreading through him at the connection they were reigniting. We've grown up. Time to confront it, share it. As they continued, breaking through the thick tension, more stories started spilling out. They spoke of nights spent tossing fitfully in bed, haunted by memories of that evening, the screams, the chaos, and the aftermath that laced their lives with an undeniable heaviness. Each revelation was a step on a hallowed path leading toward healing. After hours of sharing moments nestled between joy and sorrow, weariness blanketed them. The laughter and tears had woven into a tapestry of understanding. Jack felt lighter but knew there was still more to tackle. As they leaned back, spent and raw, Mike leaned forward, his expression serious. What's our next step? How do we move forward? Jack met his gaze, determination swirling with hope. We share our story, not just between us, but with the world. It's time for our voices to be heard. A sudden pulse of anxiety rushed through him. What had he just committed to? Each of their lives featured delicate threads of hope and grief. How would they unravel it all without losing themselves? Yet there it was again, an unexpected courage. Together, maybe they could face the future. They weren't just survivors. They were storytellers, equipped with a new purpose. Jack clenched his fists, ready to forge the path ahead. But as he looked around the room filled with shattered pieces and glimmers of hope, one question nagged at him. Would they truly be ready to unfold their shared pain to the outside world? The glow of the setting sun faded as the room slipped into twilight. Shadows curled in the corners, filling the space with a different kind of weight. Jack felt the shift in the atmosphere, a mixture of fear and hope. They all sat there, each processing the decision they had just made. I guess we start drafting what we want to say, Mike suggested, breaking the silence. Jack swallowed hard. What if we share the good too? The thought had struck him. I mean, not just the pain but the moments that made us strong. The people we became, you know? Sarah's eyes lit up as she smiled. Yes, the love, the laughter. They need to see us, the real us. Then we need to dig deeper, Mike said. We can't just skip ahead. We have to lay it all out, even if it hurts. He paused, searching for words. That day shattered us, but it also brought us closer. There was love in the ruins. What if we keep a journal together? Jack proposed, his voice trembling slightly. Something private at first. We take turns writing our thoughts, and when we feel ready, we turn it into something bigger. The idea hung in the air, fragile but electric. That could work. It gives us space to express ourselves, Sarah replied, nodding. And when we're ready, we can share what's worthy. Tension transformed into a gentle excitement, sparking a new sense of purpose among them. Jack could feel the shift, something bigger was forming. They all reached for their phones, the blue light illuminating their faces like a beacon of hope. The creation began as they typed. Moments floated back. Their brotherly banter over breakfast, days spent trying to help their neighbor fix his car, and long movie nights blanketed by laughter. Joy became intertwined with sorrow, each moment precious. We're crafting a love letter to ourselves, Mike exclaimed, almost giddy. It's our way of reclaiming our story. Just then, Jack stumbled upon a photo from that fateful day. His heart sank. It was his last shot of their father, laughing under a summer sun, unaware of what lay ahead. He hesitated, the pain crashing over him like a wave. Jack? Sarah's soft voice broke through his daze. Are you okay? His fingers hovered over the image. I want to share this one. It's important. He swallowed hard, clearing his throat. Dad was such a bright spirit, even on days that were dark. Maybe this photo can remind us that light can still shine through the shadows. I love that, Mike chimed in, leaning closer. It's real. It's us. They went on, taking turns revealing photographs, stories, and snippets of emotions guarded for too long. Bit by bit, the air lightened, spilling over with laughter mixed in with tears. They didn't shy away from vulnerability. Instead, they embraced it. Jack felt the warmth of their shared strength. We're not just telling our story. We're building a bridge to others living through their own storms. As the clock ticked away, they poured their hearts into their project, and the living room came alive with memories reclaimed. A final thought pressed at the edge of Jack's mind: what will we do when the world sees us? How will they react? In that moment, uncertainty gnawed at the edges of his courage. As they gathered the notes and photos, ready to put the pieces together, he felt a fresh wave of panic. Are we really ready to share our truth? He blurted out, glancing at his siblings with a mix of hope and trepidation. Their eyes met, a silent agreement passing between them, built on the promise of growth and resilience. But even as they turned the page for their new beginning, the biggest question loomed over them: just how far would they need to go to confront the ghosts of their past? Jack's heart raced as they gathered the notes, still buzzing with anticipation. The screen flickered with shadows of their past while the echoes of laughter danced in the air. He couldn't shake the feeling that their journey was just beginning, that the real work was yet to come. We've dug deep already, Mike said, breaking through the simmering tension. But what if we uncover something we're not ready for? Sarah tapped her fingers against her phone, her thoughts visibly churning. That's the risk we take, isn't it? Every step forward could lead us back into the dark. But without it, we can't shine a light for anyone else. Jack nodded, feeling the weight of her words. As they settled back into the rhythm of the evening, they began to explore their memories more profoundly. They each took turns sharing their scribbled thoughts, peeling back layers like the pages of an old, familiar book. Remember that camping trip? Mike said, his eyes sparkling. Crispy marshmallows and Dad's terrible ghost stories? I swear he wasn't even trying to scare us. He just wanted us to laugh. That simple image sparked a wave of warmth. They all chuckled, the shared memory wrapping around them like a reassuring hug. It reminded Jack of the kind of family they wanted to be seen as: real, relatable, even imperfect. But there were also the harder times, Jack added, his voice softer. Mom had to be both parents after everything changed. The way she kept going, even when it seemed impossible. Maybe we need to write about that too. Yes, Sarah said quietly. We can't ignore the struggles either. It's part of our truth. But how do we find the right words? As the question loomed, Jack felt a wave of vulnerability wash over him. It was one thing to write about laughter and light. It felt terrifying to acknowledge the pain they carried. Maybe we just write what we feel, Mike suggested. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. Yeah. Jack breathed in the courage of his brother's suggestion. Let us not polish it too much. The messiness is what makes us human. They leaned into their words, each entry rough around the edges but full of raw emotion. Jack felt his fingers glide over the screen. Each keystroke pulled memories from the depths of his heart. Each sentence a thread pulling them closer together, in between lighter moments. The reality of grief intertwined with laughter. They documented their father's goofy ways, their mother's unwavering strength, and even the difficult conversations that still echoed in their minds. Each word stitched a tapestry of who they were now, a mosaic of both grief and joy. "I think we need a plan," Sarah said, her voice filling with fervor. "Once we have what we want, we can decide how to share it. Maybe a blog? A social media platform? Or even a book?" Mike's eyes widened. "We can show others that healing isn't linear. It's chaotic and beautiful at the same time." The thought sent excitement tingling down Jack's spine. A book? Yeah, that could reach people. We might give someone the courage to speak their own truth. As the evening faded, the weight of anticipation lingered in the air. They shared smiles, excitement mingling with the gravity of their task ahead. They were doing more than just sharing memories, they were forging a lifeline for others. But even as hope surged, uncertainty still thrummed beneath. Jack's mind flickered back to the question he posed earlier. What if their truth was too heavy for the world to bear? The thought gnawed at him. He wasn't ready for any backlash. Would they understand? As they ended the night wrapped in a blanket of camaraderie, one lingering connection held Jack's thoughts captive. Could this project truly change not just their lives but the lives of others? And as the last slivers of daylight faded, the larger truth remained: could they all handle the weight of their story being seen? The sun rose the next morning, casting a warm glow across Jack's living room, illuminating remnants of last night's gathering. Scattered journals, empty coffee cups, and the vibrant energy of hope lingering in the air. Sitting at the kitchen table, Jack felt an unusual calm. Overseeing a tangible project armed his heart with resolve. Today was the day they share their story openly for the first time. And despite an underlying current of anxiety, Jack's spirit stirred with anticipation. His family trickled into the kitchen, bleary-eyed yet charged with purpose. Sarah bustled in first, her hair bouncing with energy. "Okay, team, are we ready?" Jack smiled, a familiar warmth washing over him. "Let us do this." As they gathered around the table, Jack felt a surge of love envelop him. They were approaching the unveiling of their shared journey, a shared wound they had only begun to acknowledge. "Remember," he said, framing his hands like a coach motivating his team. "Be honest, be real. This isn't just our moment. It's everyone's." Mike nodded, visibly revving up with enthusiasm. "We can take turns sharing our feelings about that day, how it changed us, and what we learned." Their mother leaned forward, stilling them with her gaze. "And don't forget to express the good amidst the hard. There's strength in both." Adding on to the momentum, Jack remembered a wave of community support flowing in from neighbors and friends. "We can highlight the love we received from everyone. That's where the resilience lies. It's in the bonds we forged as we healed together." They divvied up sections of their story, and the air became charged with focus. A sense of pride intertwined with fear began to blossom, invigorating each of them with courage. As each sibling wrote, Jack's heart raced, palms clammy against the table. This was real. They were bearing their souls. The chaotic rhythm of life that had overshadowed their days was finally transforming into narrative alight in a labyrinth of darkness. With trembling hands, Jack set out to describe the crash. He focused on the wreckage, the feeling of being utterly lost, and then shifted onto brighter moments, how his siblings rallied together, each step bringing new strength. He wanted them to know that pain doesn't diminish hope. It cultivates resilience. Eventually, everyone shared their portion, and the hours slipped away, morphing into laughter-studded stories. The dim layers of grief morphed gradually into an intricate tapestry, their narrative blossoming into a message of encouragement and brightness. They found catharsis in words, an energy igniting between them, defiant against the shadows of the past. Each entry was a brush stroke, painting not only their suffering but the colors of survival, an act of both remembrance and healing. Hours later, they sat back, reading the draft aloud. Each paragraph dripped with raw honesty, intertwined with humor, heartache, and hope. Jack could feel the shift deep in his chest, as if they were excavating a vault of gold hidden under the rubble. This was their truth, their voice not just for them but to resonate with countless who might be navigating storms of their own. "Can you feel it?" Mike said, his eyes glistening. "This is powerful." "It really is," Jack echoed, gratitude swelling within him. "And it's ours. It has to be ours." As they shared in the emotions swirling around the table, Jack could sense the community outside waiting, their hands poised to embrace this raw honesty. Their truth would not be easy to carry, but it was a burden they now shared as a unit, blazing the path toward healing and connection. They concluded with a decision to create a social media page, a place to house their story and encourage others to share theirs too. They would hold a family event to christen this journey, a gathering filled with reflection, sharing, and love for those who had been there, supporting them all along. "We won't forget that day," Jack said softly, looking at the faces around him, filled with determination and unity. "But we'll honor it. We'll rise above." The warmth enveloped him like a hug from the sun, and as they linked fingers, he felt hope flicker more brightly than ever before. "We'll get through this together," he concluded, knowing that within the collective pulse of their bond lay a powerful force, ready to spin their trauma into triumph. As they finished their reflections and began designing their social media presence, Jack felt a tidal wave of gratitude flowing through him. Their story was just beginning, and this was just the start of their shared triumphs moving into the light in solidarity. They embarked on their journey of transformation, lifting each other through the dark, looking squarely at the shadows that trailed behind, and stepping boldly into their shared future. But as they sat together, something vital echoed in the depths of Jack's heart. A call to action resonated through his thoughts, pressing them not just to tell their story but now to invite others who listened to join them. It was time to spread the word. Jack turned to his siblings, excitement bubbling. "Now, we need more than just us. We have to invite the world to stand with us. Let us share this journey." And so, they set forth ready to illuminate their story to the world, unearthing hope from the depths of heartache. Stepping into the light, they made a pact to raise their voices, knowing that together was the only way forward. So, listen carefully, because this is it. This is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire you. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us reach even more people. Dive into the comments with your reactions and feelings about this transformation. We love hearing from you. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, let us spread hope and resilience in a world that needs it most.